going to go through some graphic design 10, which is learning about design and the fundamentals or the principles that to use in order to understand what good design is. So let me just share my screen here. Now, so right now I have open a YouTube channel that we've managed to put some of our, just in case you guys don't know about it, this is where you can find some tutorials that we've done on this topic, so on graphic design 10. So we have here, we have digital visualization. If I go back, there's playlists here. So this is just the main page. And then in here, I'm going into, there's graphic design lectures. So this is some more information you can choose, or this one here is specifically about graphic design 10 setup. So this is an overview. This is about the booklet. This is about fundamentals. So you can look through those or listen to those if you need additional information. I'm going to close that now down here. I have a lot of windows open, so I'm just going to close some of them. Okay, so now that we're kind of, there we go, set to go. I'm going to open up my InDesign file here, or my InDesign program, and we're going to create a new document. So first of all, you kind of have to have an idea or some inspiration in mind how you're going to, what you want this to look like. So I am going to create mine on spreads. So it's like a booklet. That's the first thing. So we're going to say create new. You want to make sure you have facing pages checked. So that's basically like you're going to lay it out like a book. I'm going to choose my orientation to be vertical, and I'll just leave it at 11 by 8.5. That'll be fine. I'm going to set up my margins so they're 0.5. So margins are just going to be the space between the edge of the page and where you want all of your text boxes to start or your graphics to start. You want to make sure they're not too close. This is my bleed. So if I have any images that go out to the edge of the page, you actually have to drag them past the edge of the page so that when your printer is printing it and they cut it, because it's a machine cutting it, they don't get like a white edge on that colored edge. So it's just so that it's like a, you know, the ink is going all the way across, so they're chopping off some of that edge, so it's there's no white, or the color of the paper isn't showing. So I'm going to make sure I have that bleed there, and then I'm going to say, you can even say preview on here, and it will give you like a little preview of what your document looks like. And I'm going to add some pages to it. Oh wait, sorry, wrong one first. I'm going to add a couple pages here. So I'm going to add 8 because that's what the document, if you read the assignment, it says you need at least 8 pages. And then I'm going to add some columns in here just so that I have a grid set up. So I'm going to make my pages 5 columns, and that will give me a lot of, just trying to think, maybe I'm going to make it 4 columns. That's just going to give me a lot of different options. So like I could make a picture 3 columns and my text 1 column. I could make 2 and 2, right? So, or I could make 4 1 columns and 1 2 column. Like, so there's a lot of different layouts you could do with this. So then I'm going to say create. So now that I have my pages laid out, that's the first thing you do. So I have my document started here. I'm going to save this as, and I want you guys to make sure you save this in a folder that says assignments or GDT 10, if it ever, it's going to open up here. So I'm just going to save mine to my desktop now because I'm going to get rid of it later. So I'm going to say GDT 10, and this is going to be I'm just going to call this one template for now. You can call it whatever your first book is going to be, if it's going to be color or something like that. I'm going to put it inside of a folder that says GDT 10. And I will actually go down to here. And then in here, you can actually say InDesign 2021 template. What that does is that it won't let you save on top of it. Or it won't let you just save it. So it will force you to give it a name. So I'm calling this my template. The first page is your cover. So I'm going to leave that because that's not really, that's going to be something totally different than what I want to do. First thing I want to do is I want to check out my master pages. So in your master pages, you want to make sure that you have set up, and this is going to, you're going to figure out what's going to be on every single book. So one of those things is going to be the title of what you're doing, your name, and maybe the course. And maybe the course name. So I'm just going to zoom out, and I'm sorry if this is really small for you guys because I'm sharing my screen, so it's pretty tiny. First thing you do is create a text box, figure out where you want your, so I'm going to put up here, I'm going to put my information about the course. So course name, GDT 10. I want it to be, I'm just putting in a line to space things out, and I'm going to call it Design Fundamentals. And so each book has a different name. This could be Color Theory or something like that. But I'm going to put my titles up here. I'm not going to worry about the text yet because I don't know what kind of font. I should know what I'm using, but I haven't thought that far ahead. Down here, I'm going to put the page number. So I think I'm going to just put page like that. And then I'm going to actually go up to type, insert special character, markers, current page number. So P is going to stand for page, and then I'm going to have my number there. So what I want to do here is I'm actually going to make it, I'm going to do something a little different with my page numbers. And they're going to bleed off the page, I think. So I'm going to just have it, and it's going to be really light. So here's where you can change your color and the style, things like that. So in your palette or panels on the side, it says paragraph styles here. So I can say new paragraph style. I'm going to drag this over. I'm going to go to basic paragraph styles, and I want to choose something a little more fun, and I don't know what I have in here really, so I'm just gonna guess. So I'm gonna do bold. I want to do like 18 point, which is way bigger than normal, but you'll see what I'm doing. I'm not going to emphasize it because just because it's big, it's just going to be screened out, which means it will be faded, so you won't really see it. So I'm going to go down to color, wherever that is. I cannot. There we go. Character color. So in character color, I'm actually going to choose like an orange. And I don't have an orange, so that might be a little bit harder. So maybe I will do a green. And I'm going to set the transparency for like 20%, 30%. Let's try that. So I'm going to do 30%. Go back to my basics. I'm choosing this font family, bold, size is this. I'm not going to play with any of my tracking or kerning and say, okay. So now I have that new, oh, and you know what? I didn't name it. So I'm going to edit my paragraph style by right clicking. I'm going to call this page number. So that's going to be my page number. So you can see, oh, it's not even as big as I wanted it to be. So I'm going to just up that. That's how big I want it to be, is like that. So it's like 44. And then if you go back into your paragraph styles, you see it says page number. You want to right click there and say redefine style. This is going to basically take the size that I stated now and input that into the information. So I'll redefine style. If I double click it, now on basic formats, it says size 44. And then I don't want the P to be that color or that style. So in paragraphs, it's basically what it does is it does the whole paragraph and applies that code or whatever you set that to. So what I want to do is I want to open up my character styles. It's not open. So in type and tables, this is where you'll find all of them. There is, oh, my character styles is open, but I want to open up my character because usually I have those two together. So I have character and character styles. So if I click on character styles and I say new character style, I'm going to call this, you know what, maybe I won't even have this in there. I'm going to just take that right out like that. The easy thing to do is now that I already have one page number, I can just take this and duplicate it. So I'm going to say copy and paste. I just use my quick keys to do that, which is Command C, Command V. That might be Control C, Control V on yours, but you can always check by going to edit, and then it has the number, the shortcut key on the side here, where you can check out the document that we have on MS Teams that has all your shortcuts in Photoshop or Illustrator. Oops, hold on a second. Give me one moment. I just want to make sure I'm not missing a dentist appointment here. Hello? Speaking. Hi. Good, how are you? All is good. Okay, sorry about that. I'm gonna go over to, so now that I've I drug the, or copy pasted and placed it on the right hand side, you can see my page number isn't lined up with that corner and I want it to be. So I'm gonna go into paragraph and I'm going to right align it. So now that it's on, now it's on the right side. Now, if I go back to my pages panel, so I'm in my pages here and you can see I'm doing this all in the master layer. So this is a master. If I double click now on page 3, you can see there's a 3 down there at the bottom of my screen. So all of my pages have numbers on them. Easy, right? That's already done. And I didn't have to do it on 8 times. I just did it twice. So now I want to go back into here and I kind of want to do something with this. So what I'm going to do, this is another way to make a paragraph style that I'm going to show you. I'm going to change it to the color green. I'm going to find a font that I want to use. So maybe I want to use Bangla. I don't want to use too many different fonts, so keep that in mind as well. So what did I use here? I used DIN alternate. So maybe I'll try that for this before I get too crazy. Oh yeah, so I like that. That's something, it's different. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this space to an M dash or an M dash. So if I go into type and I say white space and I say M space, and then I'll do, oh, sorry, I did the wrong one. Type N space, there we go. And then I'm going to do another one here. I could always copy that space and paste it, but I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. So I'm going to copy this, paste it, and drag it over here. I'm going to right align that one, and I'm going to flip it actually. So I'm going to put, I'm going to cut this. So that's Command X. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to cut the N dash and the graphic little line that I put there. So I'm going to go behind the S and paste. So now it's basically like a mirror image of each other at the top of my page. And instead of putting design fundamentals on this page, I'm actually going to put my name. Oops. Okay. Or maybe I'll just put my last name actually. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm going to just Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. It's 12 points, so that's pretty big. I'm going to kind of come up with some kind of a layout for this. Now, I went ahead and found a layout that I liked online. Normally, I would sketch one out. So I have an idea of what I want to do. And so I'm going to just quickly put in where I want to have some text boxes. And I might have to shift these around depending on where I have, like how much room I need for my text and things like that. I might have to make them smaller or crop them differently, things like that. But this is just for placement. So meaning that that's where my image is going to go. So I'm actually going to say content and say graphic. So you'll see that that has like an X inside of it. And this is just to speed up my process for when I'm ready to put in all my text. So I'm going to put an image there, and then I'm going to copy that image and place it in a few other areas just so that I have an idea of what. And this is what I would do on each page, is place my images and then place my text. And there's, you know, you want to kind of stick with your guide that you have, but this is okay too. Like if I'm going to go across this one halfway, there's nothing saying you cannot do that. So what this image might, obviously pictures aren't taken like this, but this might be a cropped image somehow. So I'm going to leave that like that. I'm going to create my title because we're going to have like a title on each page. So this is going to be my main title. And then I'm going to have subheadings. And maybe I'll do those all capital too, subhead. And then I'm going to fill with, oops. There we're going to fill with placeholder text. Oh, I have to click on my, so here's fill, under type, it says fill with placeholder text. The reason it was grayed out before is because my text box was deselected. So there's my body copy. I'm going to zoom into that for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a title. So I am going to see what I have in here. I'm just going to do something pretty plain. If I can find anything that I don't normally do, but I think I just have to, I'll go with this. We'll try this one because it has different, bold and regular, so that's pretty good. Oh no, I'm going to do the Bangla. I'm going to try that one again. So this is going to be my main title, and titles can be pretty big. Like you don't have to, there's no rule saying they can't be, you know, you want that to be the main focus of the page. So you're like, this is what, you know, if it says design fundamentals, or if it's talking about proximity, for example, and that would be my heading here, right? It would be like my main title. Now what I can do is I can take that, go into paragraph styles, and set up a new paragraph. So this is going to be called my main title. If I can type. So I'm just going to hit OK, because as you can see, like I selected that, I highlighted that text before I did this, so it put all the information in here for me. And then if I ever want to change a color, I can come back in and change a color here. It will change all of them. So I'm just going to leave that like that. And then again, I'm going to change this to the same thing. Actually, what sizes? Yeah. I think that's what I use. So in this one, I'm going to make this, I'm going to leave this one at 12 point, just like that. This one's going to be called subhead. So this would be, subhead would be something like, what you'll notice when you're going through the information for graphic design, it's going to talk about some different kinds of contrast, for example. So we'll say contrast will be your main heading, and then underneath contrast will be like color contrast, contrast in size, contrast in shape, contrast in, right? There'll be different types of contrast. So that would be what I would consider my subhead. This is going to be my body copy, and I want my body copy to be really clean, easy to read. So I'm actually just going to go with, does this look like as a regular font? This is kind of fun, but it's way too big because it's pretty bold. So depending on the type of font you're using, these can be fairly, and I don't think I'm not loving that. It's a little too big or thick for me. So I'm just going to go with like an Avenir Light for my body copy. So this is my main title, my subtitle, and my body copy. I might readjust the subtitle, but I'll deal with that later. So I just want to copy this, and then I'm going to say new paragraph, call this body. What size is it? It's 8. I'm going to make it 10. So you want your font to be between typically 9 and 12. If it's really thick, you can have it at an 8. If it's really thin, you could have it like at 13 or something. Also, you want a bigger font for people who have a hard time reading. So like depending on your demographic. So for these paragraph styles, what else I'm going to do is I'm going to add, actually after the subhead. So I'm going to click on, you'll notice like I created the subhead, but I didn't apply the paragraph style. So now I'm going to go and apply these. So this is my subhead. This is my body copy. Oh, and my body copy got, oh yeah, a lot bigger because I did want it that big. And then this is my main title. So I've applied all those styles, but I want to add some more to this. I'm going to add space below the subhead so that there's just a little bit more of a gap there. Not too much, but a little bit. So I'm going to go into my paragraph, and or I can use my control bar up here too. You just want to find the icon that looks like paragraph after. So this right here. So it's like lines with a box underneath and an arrow pointing to that box. So I'm just going to click on my subhead and then click on the up arrow. Oh, that's above, sorry, below. So you can see it just like pops it up and down. It just gives it some spacing so you don't have to add like a return in there. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go back to my paragraph styles, right click and say redefine style. So I've got that done. Then I'm going to take this text box that I've created, and I'm going to, because I'm making this, if you didn't notice already, I'm making this a 2-column grid or 2-column here. So I'm also going to do the same here. So I'm going to click on this white box here because that's going to be like where your type flows. This is going to be the flow of my text boxes. So I'm going to add some more what we call placeholder text in here. So you can see it fills everything with placeholder text. So now I know where that's going to go. Sorry about my dinging, donging, and whatever. So in this layout, and you can change it up, and that's kind of how you get some variety on your pages, is you're going to change up this layout a little bit on each page, but you're still going to have these same columns that you can use as guides to keep it consistent. So it's different, but it's the same at the same time. Hopefully that makes sense. So in these, again, I'm going to click this little white box. So when it has copy in it, you'll see it has like a play button down on the bottom right. You can click that, and that's where you're going to link, how you're going to link your boxes. So I'm just going to make one more, and notice how I'm going right over the images, because I'm going to show you what to do with the images next. So I'm going to remind you to save if you haven't saved yet. So now that we have our text boxes kind of done, we have our paragraph styles done, I want to go back to these images that I created, and I'm going to click on them all. And, oh no, I can't because I have to, they're behind. So I'm just going to start with this one. So if you click on this box that I made for placement of my graphic, go to Window, and you're going to select Text Wrap. So when that happens, you're going to get a panel that looks like this. Now, because I have rectangular sizes, I'm just going to click on the wraparound bounding box. So that's going to wrap around this picture, or around the frame, basically. But notice how it's still touching the frame. You don't want this. This isn't enough white space. It feels like really, it kind of like chokes the picture. So you want to click on these numbers or these arrows right here to give it some space. So basically I would try and give it enough space so that it goes back to where your margin is there. So as you can see, I pushed it back a tiny bit further than the margin, but it looks good. If I zoom out, yeah, I can deal with that, right? So pretty good. We'll see how it goes. I might not have this much text in my document. And so say this is like all the text I had for this whole entire page. What I would do, is I would select my body copy, and I might not save it. I'll save some of it. So I'm guessing this is how much text you'll probably have. So you might want to add a few more pictures. You might want to make these pictures bigger. If you do so, just be careful that you don't have less than like 4 words on a line if you're on your columns, because that's going to be really weird to read, just vertical lines. So just watch that. But an easy way, if you just need to add some space in here, is to add some spacing. Oh, wait, we don't want to go more than 10. So this spacing is like spacing out the space between all the letters. So again, that's in your toolbar. It's your tracking here. And then the other one I would do is over here underneath your type size, there's leading. And I wouldn't go ever lower than the auto, but I would go larger than the auto, because all that's going to do is create more air and flow. And that looks a lot nicer than it did before. It's just not as heavy of a feeling. And I'm trying to go for light. So again, I'm going to have to go back in here, and with the rest of these boxes, I'm going to have to text wrap them. So I'm just going to go through these really quick and finish those ones. And I think I have to do this one. And if you don't want it on all sides, you can always uncheck this link box, right? And then here you can have wrap options. So you can just do the right side, just do the left side, things like that, right? So there. So all of that is done. Oh, except for this one, I think I need some on the bottom more. And I closed that window. So I'm going to put some, I didn't actually add space to this one, or I might have clicked off of it. I'm going to give that one a little bit more. So now that I have those all done, oh, you can see here, this is another thing. So now that I did that text wrap, you can see this disappeared. So now I don't have my page heading. If you right click on this, you can go to text frame options. So right click text frame options, and then you just have to select ignore text wrap. So just put a check mark on that and say, I always say preview. And then there you see it comes back. So then I say, okay, so now it's there. So it's just telling that to ignore the text wrap. So there's my layout. That's my basic page layout done. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go get started on my project. So to do that, you're going to go back to your pages here. So in page 1, that's going to be my title page. So I'm going to take that none up here in my master page area, and I'm going to drag that onto page 1. That's going to be a blank page. So that's like a canvas. That's my cover page. So I get to have fun with that one. this here is going to be my page number 1. But as you can see, when I click on it, nothing is activated. So what you have to do is hold down Command Shift. So on a PC, just wait, I'm going to see what that is. You might have to Google that on a PC, like how to release master page objects or something like that. So now that I can do that, I'm going to do that with anything that I want to change in here. So I'm going to add my pictures and stuff like that. So I will probably, but just know that when you change this, if you go back and change anything in your master, it's not going to apply to this page because I've released it from that master page. So I'm actually going to bring this forward to bring it to the front. Okay. So now that I have that done, I might either start placing some of my text and images in here, or I might just go and play with where everything's laid out in here. So maybe for this one, I'm going to move this one up. Oh, and I didn't make that text frame all the way. That's one thing I didn't do, right? I stopped the text frame there. So I'm going to drag that down to the bottom. And then I'm going to bring this, I'm just holding Shift and pushing my arrow key. I'm bringing that one up to the top there. I'm going to try that for this one, just something a little bit different. And then maybe on this page, I'm going to change the shape of my boxes, or maybe I don't have as many boxes. So I'm going to take that out. And I'm going to make another one of these. And I'm going to move them all over to the side. There. So now I have, maybe I'll just make this one like this. Okay, so I can bring that down. So there's my layout for my second page, et cetera, et cetera. So I keep going and doing that. If you find out you don't have enough type, or maybe you're going on to page 9 and 10, and then you're like, what do I do for page 11, 12? You can always go into your pages panel and right click and say insert pages, and I can insert 2 pages before, two pages before page 2, for example, and then I could put in like a title page. So I'm going to put in, I'm going to just go like that. And this may, or a content, table of contents page. So I could do that on here. And like maybe the inside of my cover is just all one solid color. So I could just make it all one solid color. And maybe it just says like, and don't forget these red lines right here, like drag your, any images that bleed past that edge should go way out to the red line, because that is your bleed. So then to preview your page, you can hit W, just a quick way, and you can kind of just see where what your layout looks like so far, if you're happy with it, right? Like maybe you want it to be more fun or whatever. This is very magazine-like. So anyways, hopefully that kind of helped you guys. Do you have any questions? Jillian or Wilmore, if you're still with me? And can we go through anything else? Okay. Just making sure you're good. So hopefully that helps you. And then that way, I'm going to just show you what happens also when I open up this template again. So I'm just going to save and close this. So I close that. Now when I go to open up my template, so because I have that template created here. So when I go to open up my template, it's actually going to prompt me. It's going to say Untitled. It should say Untitled. Yeah, see Untitled 2. So I can save that now as, okay, this is my first booklet. I'm calling it Design Fundamentals. And I can always do your initials behind it so we know what it is, and say save. Once you are finished all of these, like say you're done your booklet, you would then package it so that all of your fonts, your images, everything you need is collected into a folder, and it's super easy. You just go File and Package, so you don't have to do it manually at all. You'll get this package window that pops up. You want to make sure that all of your fonts say status okay. Another easy way to do it is just click on Show Problems Only. So if there's a problem, you need to fix it. But obviously ours is really good. And then links and images, you want these to all say CMYK. I can't remember what else this all says, but you want them to be CMYK for print. And they should link, like you shouldn't have any problems. So if I say Show Problems Only, the name would show up here and you could fix those. So then you could say, we won't go through this too much. This is just percent. These are just your inks. And then this is your print settings. So I'm going to say package. And then when you package it, it's going to say where do you want to put it. And I can put it in that same folder. And now I know that that is my final. And it's finished. And then I would take that folder and put it onto my shared file or send it to your instructor somehow. We're using Dropbox right now, so yeah, hopefully that is helpful.